Within the internet, there are tons, and I mean tons, of disturbing media, users, posts, websites. I think it's safe to say that the list goes on. But this stuff is usually hidden away from the average user. So, within this series, I decided to uncover and showcase some of the most disturbing corners of the internet that I could possibly find. This is volume 4 of the most disturbing corners of the internet. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video, cause this one is about to be good. The year was 2019. The popularity of the game Perfect World was at its peak. To briefly explain, this game is sort of the same as World of Warcraft, as it is an open world MMO. Shortly after the game garnished a large player base, a Discord server was created for the purpose so all the players within the game could connect to discuss tactics and trade in-game items. This Discord server contained a huge variety of different people playing the game and communicating within the server. But there was this one user that stood out more than others, and his name was Manz. This specific person hung around the Discord server more than anyone else, and he spent numerous hours a day playing Perfect World. Because of this, he was well known and had somewhat of a reputation within the community. But Manz wasn't just known for being online for numerous hours a day. He was mostly known for his edgy jokes and dark humor. Unfortunately though, at the time, what people took as jokes may have actually had some dark truth behind them, such as going to jail in the near future. But who exactly was Manz? Outside of Discord, in the real world, this person was known as Manz Zaman. He was 23 years old and from Bangladesh descent, as his parents immigrated to Toronto to be exact, sometime during the 80s. I also thought that I'd mention that his family was Muslim and they had some pretty strict rules within their household. Manz was enrolled at York University, where he studied engineering. However, he had dropped out without his family's knowledge. For years, he was telling his parents that he was going to school, but in actuality, he had failed all his classes the first year and shortly after quit. Therefore, he was lying to his family about attending classes and nearing graduation. Since Manz lived in a very strict household, he was extremely scared of his parents finding out the truth about dropping out of university. Which is somewhat understandable, but instead of getting a job or somehow preparing for his future, he acted like he went to school. And instead, he sat at a mall playing Perfect World. This way of handling his situation led to an increase in pressure on Manz, and I believe that it started taking a toll on his mental health. Now you're probably left thinking, so what? The guy was a weirdo that didn't care much about his future. That may be the case, but there is more to the story. Way more. As time went on, Manz's jokes became darker, and he started changing his Discord username to things like "Don't Deserve Life," because he was so terrified that his parents would find out that he had dropped out of school, so much so that it got to the point where he was willing to do anything to keep that a secret. In his eyes, it was life or death. So, he had two choices. It was either to kill his parents or to tell them the truth. On July 27th, 2019, Manz sent a message on the Discord server. This message is truly disturbing, but many users thought that it was simply another dark joke that Manz made. Only this time, it was not a joke. Gonna kill my parents and go to jail, yo. About a minute later, he uploaded a photo of a deceased woman lying on the ground. This was his mother. Later that day, he uploaded another image to the Discord server. This time, it was a picture of his grandmother's lifeless body. The community obviously reacted strongly, but many thought that this was also a joke that Manz had made. That was until he sent this image of a bloody knife with his face in it. One user had a really bad feeling about the images he sent of the bodies, so he decided to do an image reverse search on Google, and they were original, and so they notified the admins of Perfect World. It was now a race against time until Manz would kill both his sister and his father. The next time Manz had logged into the game, they got his IP, and because of this, they also got his exact location. Police were notified as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, before law enforcement got to the scene, Manz had made one more post on the Discord server, and it reads, "I have just slaughtered my entire family and will most likely spend life in jail if I manage to survive. I hope I made you laugh at one point or another. I hope you remember the good times. I will miss you all." Shortly after, police arrived and Manz was caught. He pleaded guilty and has been sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 40 years. This event is truly disturbing, and not only because people were killed, but also because Manz's sole reason for killing his own family was his fear of admitting that he had dropped out of college. April 21st, 2015 began like any other day for Tracy Woodford. But it would be the last day 47-year-old Tracy would ever be seen alive. That morning, she had tea with her brother Sean, and she mentioned that she was going to buy a ring at Pontypridd Town Centre. After purchasing the ring, she stopped at a few bars. Although Tracy rarely drank and had a low tolerance for alcohol, she wandered into various establishments that afternoon. At one point, she was even refused alcohol for simply being too intoxicated. By 7:45 p.m., she found herself at Skinny Dog Pub, a local hangout for the residents in the area. It was here that she encountered 50-year-old Christopher May. Tracy appeared nervous, but she soon struck up a conversation with Christopher and his friends. Witnesses later recalled seeing them flirt, with Christopher offering to buy her drinks if she went home with him. Tracy insisted she didn't do that type of stuff, yet as the night went on and she consumed more alcohol, she was seen on the CCTV walking out with Christopher towards his home. About 3 hours later, Christopher's neighbors were awakened by a loud noise. They assumed Christopher had returned drunk as usual and paid little attention to the noise he was making. But that night, Tracy didn't make it home, and her family grew deeply worried. With no word from Tracy, her family contacted the police, and the investigation quickly pieced together her final moments. Locals confirmed she had been seen leaving the pub with Christopher. The following day, Christopher went to work with a bruised up face. He explained the bruises were a result of an accident involving a pole from a hardware store. A neighbor also saw him carrying something and noted his extremely fatigued appearance. On April 24th, just days after Tracy's disappearance, Sergeant Stuart Williams and Constable Craig Gardner knocked on Christopher's door. Christopher claimed Tracy had left after feeling insulted by an inappropriate offer. But the police were skeptical and requested to search his home. At first, he did not let them enter, but eventually, he let them in. As they entered, the officers were struck by a strong smell, described as rotten meat. Inside, the smell grew stronger. In the bathroom, behind the shower curtains, they found Tracy's dismembered arms and legs. The South Wales police team was called in, and Christopher was taken into custody. Inside Christopher's home, there were multiple tools: a handsaw, kitchen knife, and scissors, all used to dismember her body. They also found a backpack, and within it, they found Tracy's upper torso and her partial remains. However, her head was missing. During questioning, Christopher admitted to hiding some remains in a storm drain. On April 25th, police discovered more of Tracy's remains in a dark tunnel, including her head, bruised and slashed. The defense claimed Tracy was killed in a fit of rage, but evidence suggested otherwise. Christopher's laptop revealed that he had watched inappropriate adult content after killing her, thus hinting at a disturbing sexual motive. DNA evidence on Tracy's body proved the suspicion right. Most of Tracy's internal organs were never found, with some blocking Christopher's toilet as he attempted to flush them down. On November 19th, 2015, Christopher May was found guilty of Tracy Woodford's murder. Because of what Christopher decided to do on that night, Tracy's family will most likely never recover and be happy ever again.